Now, as we move forward, I'd like to invite our next presenters, Mr. Hasham and Mr. Ali Buriwala, to take the stage for their presentation on 360-degree strategy planning. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause as they begin.
Right. Okay. You guys, we've been through so many numbers, benchmarks, had bite-sized sessions on so many different areas affecting the industry. So we're trying to do something a bit ambitious here for this session. We do a lot of board, XCOM strategy workshops, and we're trying to synthesize, compress a lot of that into the next 20 to 30 minutes, and actually do, with all of you, an industry-wide SWOT. But before we get to that, just laying the ground in terms of strategy. I'm sure you've seen, lots of getting from strategy to execution. Consultants come up with beautiful slides which are impossible to implement. How many times have you heard that, right? But the reality is, it's, a lot of the time we're thinking about linear strategic planning as opposed to a more holistic approach. So, not focusing, focusing on a single aspect, not being flexible, that sort of thing, leads to inconsistency in terms of where you prioritize, mixed messages, working in silos, and so on, right? So the whole idea of 360 strategic planning is a more holistic approach, right? Aligned across, so yes, it's top-down, but it's aligned across the whole business. And perhaps more importantly is the word there, interactive. There's lots of different strategic frameworks, but again, the key ingredients of each one, whichever acronym you go for, engaging with your stakeholders, mapping the external environment for demand drivers, risks, understanding your customers, all of these are pretty consistent. But often what's missing is this feedback loop. Okay. So before we get into the SWOT, what are some of the key components of 360 type strategy planning? So first off, across the top, engaging your stakeholders. Earlier on, you put one of the big barriers for digital transformation was change management. Not engage, and quite often why it fails, not engaging all the stakeholders, internal and external. So all the key departments internally and external stakeholders as well, your customers and so on. Doing the understanding the external environment, right? I mean, for all of these, it's what are we doing, why are we doing it, and how we do it. The how, I think, is not so important. There's lots of different framework, whether you use SWOT, Porter's 5, or whatever matrix you go for. But essentially, you're trying to get to the same goal. What's happening in the external market? External factors that can impact us as an organization, and why. Outside in, inside out now. Evaluation of our internal resources, capabilities, processes, and so on, to meet those demands. What are the gaps? What should the focus areas be? Again, the framework's not so important, but in terms of understanding what's important and why it's important is key. Okay. Understanding this one, obvious, I'm sure, to most of us in the room. Importance of putting the customer first, understanding the customer and insights from the market. What are the key trends happening? In terms of market trends, we saw earlier the huge opportunity. I was quite surprised myself when I saw the number, 100 billion of opportunity in the pension space. All blue ocean, yeah. But understanding customer behavior, changing trends, and how do we do it? Again, not so important, but it's important that there is a framework that places importance on this. And finally, we're in the risk game. we have to keep an eye on, there are risks. Venturing into new products, segments, markets, transforming our business, we have to keep an eye on assessing, identifying, what the key risks are and putting checkpoints in place to monitor, assess that, and so on. Whether it's for regulatory purposes or otherwise, right? It's just good practice. So I've whizzed through that pretty quickly. The last point, what's often missing? So 360 approach, having this feedback loop, perhaps more of an agile mindset where you're prepared to change track as market conditions change pretty rapidly, taking advantage of new opportunities, tactical opportunities that may come up. So that's setting the scene, right? So now if I could ask you all to go to Menti. Yeah. Wanted to keep more time for this. So now we're going to start off conducting a SWOT. And for each of these items, once we gather the data, it would be actually good to have a bit of a discussion with you around the room. This is the first one? All right. So if you just want to get into Menti and what internal capabilities set your company apart from the competition? Yeah, okay. So in terms of strengths, right, so what sort of themes are we seeing here? Customer centricity, that's coming up a lot. Customer relationships, putting the customer first. Oh, nice to see strong actuarial department, always helps.
Applying the 360 strategies that is also mentioned there.
Yeah.
Digital ability. Pricing efficiency, that's also important, obviously. A lot of focus on customer centricity again.
I don't think that's on. Yeah.
I think customer centricity, digital, these are the couple of things that have come the most.
Yeah, wide range of responses, right? But looks like, yeah, customer focus, customer centricity is coming up constantly. Okay, digital transformation for one of them. Okay, maybe we can move on to the next one. So those were the strengths. Now, what are the potential challenges? What internal factors could be holding your company back from achieving your goals? So let's have a look.
Data system, that is something I was actually expecting because that is a big issue for a lot of companies here.
No clear strategy.
Capital constraints is also interesting because a lot of companies here are facing capital and solvency issues. So too much monitoring from the board.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
it can be too
good point.
prescriptive, so maybe that works. Non-technical competitors.
What does that mean?
Non-technical competitors is more of an industry weakness than a company internal issue, but yeah. Difficulty to change management, that is also prevalent a lot. Mindset.
This is filling up a lot more quickly than the strengths. I don't know if that's good or bad. Legacy systems, adoption of AI data.
Actuarial and complex compliance.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Innovation, technology, automation, obviously, those are all weaknesses. Board not familiar with insurance. I understand where some of that is coming from, but yeah.
For me, what this shows, I mean, there's pretty much every challenge from governance, management understanding, insurance, not having clear strategy. I think there's a lot of work for us to do together to without a strategy at the top, a clear tone from the top, and I mean from the board level downwards, it's very difficult for us to understand which direction we're moving in, what to prioritize, how to run our business. A lot of challenges. Okay. Shall we move on? Trying to think a bit more positive now.
So this is more from an opportunities from an external perspective in the market.
So what are some of the opportunities out there in the market?
I think pension is one of them, given the size that Aman mentioned.
Yeah. 100 billion opportunity.
If someone from the audience wants a mic to
Yeah.
participate, that is also okay.
I think we can start showing. Okay. Hire robots. Not so sure about that.
A lot of focus on the end of service and pension as expected.
Pension.
More competent pricing. That is more of a wish than. Market underinsured. That is actually an opportunity because there's a lot of large scale insurance that is possible in this market.
Jumbo takaful.
Jumbo takaful. Okay.
Cyber, definitely. I'd agree with that. That's a huge opportunity.
Climate is also mentioned, so we have seen the impact of climate risk obviously.
Pension and cyber.
Need for new non-conventional products. If someone wants to elaborate on that.
Because, new products has come up a lot. Anyone want to comment? Feeling a bit shy.
Yeah. Yesterday we met someone who was like doing space insurance.
Yes.
That was a new one.
Yeah. So yesterday, here in DIFC, we have a company that's one of the leading MGAs globally in space insurance. Incredible. Legacy automation challenges. Value add. Lots of opportunities, right?
And finally, the threats that could negatively impact your company.
Let's have a look. Solvency.
A takeover. Actually, some of the companies may actually be better off for a merger.
BADRI Management Consultancy. The secret's out, guys. We're entering the insurance.
We are the
market.
real threat to the market. Cyber attack is there, and companies have, like in the recent past, also paid for cyber attacks.
Knowledgeable regulators is a threat. I think
A lot of people seemingly not happy with their management.
yeah, I was going to say people seem very happy with their management. Mergers, over-regulation, interesting.
Merger is a threat and an opportunity, actually, depending on how it pans out.
For those of you mentioning over-regulation, I'm guessing you don't operate in Saudi? Regulation is relatively easier compared to other countries. Mergers, competitors, cyber over-regulation. Okay. I think probably
Price competition is a key issue. So that is the other side of the story, yeah.
yes.
But I understand things are not as bad now.
Yes. 3 years ago compared to now, and especially in KSA's defense, because I do head up our business in Saudi.
This last 2 points
It has
on
improved.
lack of enforcement on solvency, that is very important actually, and that's a very critical point. So as of now, I think around 15% of the companies in the market are actually statutory insolvent, but no action as such from the regulator.
Is there no action, or is there action indirectly? No action at all? Th-
Very passive action maybe, like,
Closing
yeah.
to
Like
new
if you were in Saudi,
business.
since you always quote Saudi, they would have stopped you from doing
We
business.
stopped from writing business
That doesn't happen here.
and forced to inject capital to keep going. Yeah. Any developments with Vision 2030? Lots of opportunities. I mean, if you want to elaborate on that, the size of the market, yeah, the opportunity. I don't know if this is a threat as such, because as far as I know, we're approached by lots of companies who want to, or UAE companies who want to enter the Saudi market rather than the other way around. Saudi market has grown pretty rapidly and is continuing to. About 70% growth in top line over the last 3 years. So people are trying to enter that market rather than the other way around. But UAE companies already, right, have a good exposure to that, either now directly but also indirectly through inwards reinsurance.
So you have at least one person coming to KSA. TP recoveries is an important point,
Yeah.
by the way. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So the TP recoveries is a big challenge in this market, and this is a bubble that I personally feel will burst sooner rather than later.
What will happen when it bursts? More boxes saying insolvency.
A lot of equity will be written off your balance sheet, that is for sure.
Right, cool. I think we're coming up to time, right?
I think we'll let our CEOs now take the
Yeah.
questions. I think
Okay.
we are good.
You know, you guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hasham and Ali, for an excellent and interactive session.